Islam Makhachev is huge. I mean, that guy, how he makes 155 is, I don't understand it. Every time I stand next to him, like, how are you 155?
How much do you think he walks around?
He's got to be 190-ish, in the 190 range. He's got to be. That's what he looks like to me.
I never saw him in a person.
Yeah, he's thick. He's thick and big. I mean, he's not a small. He's not a 155-pound man. He's 210 pounds.
No, it's like
That guy's 250 pounds.
his strength feels like 250 pounds.
That's what I hear.
But that's the thing with them. They're always training. No matter what they're doing, they always at least run once a day or grapple.
I got a call from Ali Abdelaziz, who's a very good friend of mine, who was not happy, who is saying the same thing that you're saying, that I'm calling out Islam for cowardice. I do not blame him of cowardice. I am saying the fact pattern in history, when we look back, the fact pattern is no different than I'm claiming it is, which is that he left when he was challenged, and that did happen.
Islam Makhachev has begun his training for the fight against Jack Della Maddalena, and he is already looking big and ready for his welterweight debut. Joe Rogan has also warned the welterweights about the threat of Islam Makhachev. He believes Islam is a huge athlete, and he couldn't believe how he was making his weight in the lightweight division.
Islam Makhachev is huge. I mean, that guy, how he makes 155 is, I don't understand it. Every time I stand next to him, like, how are you 155?
How much do you think he walks around?
He's got to be 190-ish, in the 190 range. He's got to be. That's what he looks like to me.
I never saw him in a person.
Yeah, he's thick. He's thick and big. I mean, he's not a small. He's not a 155-pound man.
Joe Rogan further discussed Islam Makhachev's strength, which helped him dominate the lightweight division. He called Islam Makhachev a monster and acknowledged his skills in beating great fighters like Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier.
Makhachev is so good. He's so fucking good that he head kicked Alexander Volkanovski in the rematch. He submits everybody. He submitted Dustin Poirier. He's a monster.
Jack Della Maddalena also admitted that Islam Makhachev seems like a pretty big guy, so he thinks Islam will be fine at 170 pounds. Still, he knows people are going to assume that Islam will just take him down and submit him quickly.
But I'm sure people are just going to assume that Islam will just take me down and submit me pretty quickly.
Do you think he'll be big enough for 170?
I think he just seems like a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I think he'll be alright.
Yeah.
Jack Della Maddalena also said that he believes he can take Islam Makhachev out. He thinks Islam isn't great at switching stances and tends to stay in one stance, which could allow Jack to land a lot of shots. He also said if he gets taken down, he's confident he can get back to his feet.
You think he'll stick around at 170, or do you think it's just...
I think he'll be one fight and then he'll probably have to go back down.
Because of how it'll go?
Yeah.
How do you see it playing out?
I think I can take him out. I think... But Bilal really just changes stances a lot, walks forward, but I think you can have someone that just stays in the same stance. And I don't think Islam's the very good shot. I think I could land a lot of shots and I think I could take him out.
Wow.
Stuff the takedowns. If I get taken down, I believe I can get back to my feet.
Jack Della Maddalena also confirmed that he plans to talk with fellow Australian Alexander Volkanovski to learn more about Islam Makhachev. After Islam's recent fights, Jack has spent time with Volkanovski and views him as a key source of insight. Jack said his first step in preparing for the matchup will be reaching out to Volkanovski to get his advice and perspective.
So Volkanovski's obviously fought him before.
Yep.
Will you pick Volk's brain?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely plan. After the last two fights, I've spent a bit of time in Wollongong. So yeah, I think probably the first stop, we go to Wollongong, talk to Volk, see what he reckons.
On the other hand, Muhammad Mokaev is still hopeful of the Islam versus Ilya fight. He thinks the Islam versus Ilya fight could be even bigger if Islam wins the welterweight title and Ilya takes the lightweight belt. He said if Islam beats Ilya now, people might say he only beat a featherweight, but if both become champions in their new divisions, a catchweight fight between them would be much bigger and more exciting.
Now, for example, Islam fights Ilya and he beats him. Example, people say he beat another 145er, but Islam wins the title now at welterweight, and then Ilya beats Oliveira. That's even bigger fights to create, right? So I don't think Islam needs to slow down his career. He go take even they strip his belt off. In my opinion, he will be double champion, because that's how it started. If Conor could, why Islam can't, you know? And I think it create bigger name for them if this way better, rather than Islam fight Topuria and the hype slows down. You know what I mean? I rather see Islam becomes the champion, Ilya Topuria becomes the champion, and they can fight at catch weight for the, I don't know, whatever they want, you know?
Nonetheless, Charles Oliveira, who is set to fight Ilya Topuria at UFC 317, believes Jack Della Maddalena is a tough opponent because he doesn't rush for the knockout but hurts his opponents slowly, just like he did against Belal Muhammad. However, Oliveira believes Islam Makhachev will do well at welterweight because he'll be stronger and can use his grappling. He thinks the fight will depend on whether Jack can keep moving and striking or if Islam manages to take him down.
Quem que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Madalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
On the other hand, Islam Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, has made it clear that Jack Della Maddalena will not be underestimated by Islam Makhachev's team. He said that if they thought Jack was an easy fight, they'd be stupid, especially after seeing Jack go to war with Belal Muhammad. Mendez praised Belal's toughness and highlighted how both fighters took heavy shots in that matchup. He stressed that their coaching team, which includes Khabib Nurmagomedov and other experienced coaches, knows exactly what they're up against. According to Mendez, they are fully aware of Jack's skill, toughness, and danger, and they are preparing accordingly.
If we as coaches think Jack is easier, we're stupid.
Yeah.
We are very stupid. Then we didn't watch the Belal fight. Because Belal can take a hell of a shot. He can take a hell of a shot. And he took him. And he gave him two. Belal gave him two. So it was a war. That fight was a war. And you know what? For us to think it's an easy fight for us, you know, what kind of idiot coaches are we? Habib's not an idiot, and neither am I. And neither is Magomed, neither is Saif Safullah, and Muhammad, the other coaches that they work with Islam.
Javier Mendez emphasized that Jack Della Maddalena is not only bigger than Islam Makhachev, but also extremely dangerous, especially with his well-rounded striking. While Mendez believes Ilya Topuria has the best boxing, he praised Jack's ability to mix in powerful kicks to the head, body, and legs. He stressed that this is not an easy matchup and that any dominance from Islam would only come from perfect preparation or Jack being off his game. In his view, it's going to be a very tough high-level fight with no room for underestimation.
We know what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a much bigger guy and just as dangerous, if not more dangerous in different variations. Not boxing, because I think Topuria's got the best boxing in the business. I still believe that. But Jack is well-versed in the kicking and the arsenal, how he mixes it up. He's really good at head and body, leg, everything. He's really, really good at that. So we have our hands cut out for us. It's not an easy fight at all. If Islam, by some miracle of a chance, makes that fight to be like slam dunk, it's because we were properly prepared, or Jack wasn't as prepared, or Jack was injured, or Jack just got caught. But it's gonna be one of those fights. It's not easy. No way in hell is that fight going to be easy. Very tough fight.
Furthermore, Javier Mendez is also very confident in Islam's ability to defeat Jack Della Maddalena. He said Islam is eager for the fight and can handle everything, whether it's taking Jack down or outstriking him. Mendez believes Islam will do what Belal Muhammad couldn't and always sticks to the game plan. He also mentioned Islam won't be small at welterweight and will be a strong competitor. According to Mendez, Jack has never faced anyone like Islam, so if the fight happens, fans should expect an amazing battle.
I just know Islam wants this one, and he can do it all. Can he take Jack down? Absolutely, he can take him down. Can he outstrike Jack? Absolutely, he can outstrike him. It may be a better deal to do what Belal should have done and what he didn't do. And that's something I know that Islam will do because he's never not listened to us. And also, the weight, Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight. Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight.
On the contrary, Navajo Sterling made a huge prediction, saying he thinks Jack Della Maddalena would easily beat Islam Makhachev in his first title defense. He believes JDM is too big and powerful, and Islam won't be able to use his wrestling the same way he did at lightweight. Sterling added that once JDM wins, talk about Islam versus Topuria will fade away. He feels Islam is in for a rough night.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
Do you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Meanwhile, UFC legend Chael Sonnen and Islam got into a little beef recently. Sonnen criticized Islam Makhachev for vacating his lightweight title and moving up to welterweight, calling it a sign of cowardice. Sonnen argued that Islam's move wasn't about chasing greatness, but avoiding a fight with Topuria. He said that when a champion changes divisions but avoids top contenders, it shows avoidance, not bravery.
Islam went up not out of courage. Islam did not go up out of adding hardware to put on his mantle. He went up with one condition, which is I don't have to fight Belal Muhammad. Now, he can sit around and say, I could beat Belal, and I wouldn't go up and beat Belal because I can beat Belal. The bottom line is you entered a division openly that you said you wouldn't face one of the top guys. That's not a sign of courage. That's a sign of cowardice. I don't love the idea. You have an undefeated. Make sure you understand what happened. I know this is your friend, DC. I think of Islam as my friend, too. But let's think of what happened. You have an undefeated, #1 ranked world champion who's chasing you down. He is willing to leave his division behind. He's willing to walk away from his belt to chase you down. You are so interested in getting away from this guy that you not only leave your belt, you leave your division, and the whole thing is only contingent that you don't have to fight Islam. Not for nothing. This is not the way champions conduct themselves.
Islam Makhachev responded sharply to Chael Sonnen's criticism, saying that chasing hype and money isn't the same as chasing true greatness in the sport. He added that someone like Chael, who built his career on trash talk, wouldn't understand what it really takes. Islam told Sonnen to sit back and watch how real champions get things done. Islam Makhachev said, chasing hype and money is not the same as chasing greatness in sports, but average athlete who built his way to the top with cheap trash talk won't understand that. So please sit and watch how others doing it, Uncle Chael. Chael Sonnen also replied to Islam Makhachev's statement by telling him to enjoy his prime while it lasts. He also threw a playful jab, saying that if Islam ever wants to take his opinion seriously in the future, Sonnen would have to beat it out of him.
There are many paths to greatness, son. Travel yours as I traveled mine. And I will be there to help you as you stumble, as I always have. Signed, Uncle Chael. No. Signed, your guardian angel. No. Signed, your elder brother. You know what? Put them all. Uncle Chael, your guardian angel, your elder brother. And in the future, if I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. No. Leave that part out. Let me extend an olive branch.
Meanwhile, Daniel Cormier also disagreed with Chael Sonnen and defended Islam Makhachev. He said this is the first time Islam has made a decision for himself, not based on what others want. Cormier pointed out that Islam has always taken tough fights, even on short notice, showing his courage. He believes that after all Islam has proven, questioning his bravery isn't fair.
That's where I disagree with my boy Chael. I love Chael, and we have a lot of fun on our show. But you can't call someone or say they have that type of behavior when they're doing that. And they've defended the belt multiple times. They fought people on short notice. They fought people coming up in weight class. They've done just about everything they can to show that they're willing to lay it on the line. We always talk about step on the line, step on the line, step on the line. Steps on the line every single time. This is the first time that Islam has honestly put his wishes above what everybody else wants. Because when everybody else wanted him to fight Volk, he did it. When everybody was looking for him to fight Arman, and Arman couldn't, well, fight this guy who's number 5, Moicano. Dangerous, no training camp. He did it on a day's notice. He's always done it. So to say that it wasn't a great move in that regard, I don't agree with that.
However, Chael Sonnen says he was misquoted and never blamed Islam Makhachev for cowardice. Chael Sonnen clarified that he was highlighting a sequence of events, not insulting Islam. He explained that Ilia Topuria moved up and called out Islam, but Islam chose to leave the division instead. Sonnen added that while Islam said he wanted to become a champ, Dana White later revealed Islam had already been stripped of his lightweight title. He also mentioned that Khabib shared messages explaining Islam's reasons for the move.
Islam ain't no coward, Chael. And if you have gone unscathed after you said that, unbelievable, you're untouchable. If no one called you, if nobody reached out, then you're untouchable.
I must tell you, first off, great plug for your YouTube channel. And second off, I believe that I was misquoted. I don't believe that I did call him a coward. I am stating a fact pattern. A pattern of facts is Ilia Topuria vacated, moved into the weight class, publicly called out Islam. Islam then refused the call out and left the division. We then find out that he was stripped. Champ status was not on the table, which is what he said he wanted. He said he wanted champ status. Dana White revealed to us that he had stripped him, that Khabib even showed his phone where Khabib had called and filled up all of his reasons.
Chael Sonnen said he received a call from Ali Abdelaziz, a close friend, who was upset and accused him of calling Islam Makhachev a coward. Sonnen clarified that he never blamed Islam for cowardice. Instead, he was simply pointing out a clear pattern. When Islam was challenged, he chose to leave the division, and that, Sonnen said, is a fact that can't be ignored when looking back at the situation.
I got a call from Ali Abdelaziz, who's a very good friend of mine, who was not happy, who is saying the same thing that you're saying, that I'm calling out Islam for cowardice. I do not blame him of cowardice. I am saying the fact pattern in history, when we look back, the fact pattern is no different than I'm claiming it is, which is that he left when he was challenged, and that did happen.
On the other hand, welterweight fighter Ian Gary believes the matchup between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev is tough to call. He praised Islam as a well-rounded fighter, but pointed out that moving up 15 pounds to welterweight could make a difference. Gary highlighted the size difference between Jack and Volkanovski, who still gave Islam a tough fight. He thinks Jack's boxing and takedown defense could be key, though Islam remains a strong favorite due to his elite skills.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Daniel Cormier also advised Islam Makhachev to improve his wrestling before facing Jack Della Maddalena. He pointed out that Jack's takedown defense has been very strong recently and mentioned Islam struggled with takedowns against Dustin Poirier. Because of this, Cormier believes Islam must sharpen his wrestling skills to control the fight against a skilled and tough opponent like JDM.
Islam Jack is going to be a great fight, especially seeing Jack defend takedowns in the way that he did. And Islam, he struggled a little to take down Dustin Poirier. He didn't take him down as easily as he had taken down other guys. So I think that for Makhachev, he needs to really lock in on getting that wrestling ready to fight a guy in Jack Della Maddalena who showed great takedown defense. And man, this dude's got some good boxing, especially when you're in tight with him. His hands are good and close.
Former English MMA fighter Dan Hardy called the Makhachev versus JDM fight one of the best super fights happening right now. He expressed excitement about Islam moving up to welterweight to face Jack, saying it's one of the top matchups currently, only behind John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Hardy noted that Makhachev doesn't want to give up his lightweight title even while moving up, but he questioned if the UFC would allow it since they seem to be moving away from having double champions.
I thought he was very, very impressive. You know, it would be awesome to see Makhachev move up and fight him. You know, I did see that Makhachev said he's not gonna relinquish his lightweight belt. So I don't know how that's gonna fly with the UFC because I think they're putting a stop on double champs now, aren't they? but it would be a fight I would love to see. You know, that's probably one of the best super fights you could make right now, aside from, you know, obviously John Jones against Tom Aspinall, which is the blockbuster.
Dan Hardy doubts Islam Makhachev can beat Jack Della Maddalena at welterweight and isn't sure how long Jack will keep the title. He praised Islam's dominance at lightweight, but doesn't believe he will have the same success after moving up to welterweight.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, you know, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, you know, on any day, you know, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev.
Dan Hardy believes that if Islam Makhachev wins the welterweight title, it will cement his legacy as one of the greatest fighters ever. He already sees Islam as the current pound-for-pound best and thinks the welterweight division is wide open, making it the ideal time for Makhachev to move up and make history.
If Islam goes up to welterweight and wins that second belt, what do you think that does for him in terms of his legacy? Surely that just puts him on the Mount Rushmore, right, of MMA?
I mean, it does for me. He's pound for pound best right now anyway, in my mind. It would be very, very impressive. You know, he is the kind of fighter that can definitely make that transition. And honestly, I do feel like the welterweight division is open right now for someone to come in and you know, cause an upset. There's been times in the past where it would have been harder for someone to come up from another weight class and do that, but now seems like it's primed. It's a little bit unsettled. The belt's kind of moving around a bit.
Well, this is all we have from today's video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Islam Makhachev is looking massive in training, and the welterweight division has officially been put on notice. So share your thoughts and predictions about this fight in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel to get more updates about this highly anticipated encounter.